Hi, Carly. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's address a topic that can be very emotional because it comes in the aftermath of losing a loved one. Carly, in your practice, you've worked with many clients who have received an inheritance. What are some common missteps heirs tend to make in the process?
Yes, an inheritance often comes during a period of transition and loss, and people may experience a range of emotional responses. A sudden influx of assets can create a sense of financial flexibility that may lead to increased spending. And that level of spending is often difficult to sustain after the inheritance is depleted. On the other end of the spectrum, some heirs hesitate to use the money at all. They may feel the funds weren't truly earned or worrying about honoring how the person who left the inheritance might have wanted it used. This can lead to indecision or underutilization of the assets. I had a client who had inherited mutual funds from her father that had seen significant growth over the time her father had owned them. He advised her to never sell them as he felt they'd served him well over the years. My client was looking to access some money for her expenses, but felt really hesitant to sell any of the shares because of her father's advice. So ultimately, it's important to strike a balance. Heirs should take the time to reflect on their own goals and values and thoughtfully integrate the inheritance into their broader financial plan. Doing so can help ensure the money is used in a way that both honors its origins and supports long-term financial well-being.
Yes, most people don't know much about how an estate is settled until they go through the process. What do heirs need to understand about how assets pass?
This is another area where I see misunderstandings. For example, just how long it can take to settle an estate. It's not unusual for the process to take months or even years, depending on the complexity. And many heirs don't realize that assets pass in different ways. Some assets transfer directly to the beneficiary, which most frequently applies to life insurance policies, annuity contracts, retirement accounts such as IRAs and 401k plans, and even some savings and investment accounts. Other assets will likely pass through a will and involve the probate process, which can be lengthy and may require a court's involvement. A beneficiary designation generally supersedes a will and can be applied to many types of accounts. Even the value of inheriting assets can be confusing. So, for example, it can be difficult to split or value certain assets, such as real estate or shares of a business, and taxes can also be a significant consideration.
All right, well, let's drill down on taxes. How are the various types of inherited assets taxed?
It's first important to note that federal estate and gift taxes apply to large estates above certain thresholds and aren't paid by the heirs. But there are a handful of states that impose an inheritance tax, which could affect what heirs ultimately receive. The way assets are taxed depends largely on the type of asset that you're inheriting. For example, when you inherit a brokerage account or real estate, heirs benefit from what's called a step-up in cost basis. This means that the value of the investment or property is reset as of the date of death, so any prior gains aren't taxed, and taxes are only owed on the growth of those investments after the inheritance occurs. Retirement accounts are often the most complex when it comes to taxes, as they have special rules on taking the money. But many beneficiaries will need to take all of the assets out of the account within 10 years and may also need to take required minimum distributions. Because of the complexity, it can be helpful for heirs to speak with a legal or tax professional to ensure they don't overlook certain aspects of their inheritance.
All right, really great considerations, Carly. Thank you. Now, once someone understands what they've inherited, how can they decide how to effectively use the assets?
So the next step is to be intentional about how those assets fit into their overall financial plan. Some people may feel pressure to preserve the inheritance, while others may be inclined to spend it more quickly. It's important to pause before making any big decisions and evaluate the bigger picture. You'll want to prioritize the different goals that you have. In the short term, it's important to pay down any high-interest debt and ensure your emergency savings are fully funded. From there, make a list of your goals and rank them in importance to you. This can help as you revisit your asset allocation and investment strategy to ensure that it aligns with your wishes. You may even choose to use some of the funds for something meaningful or for personal uses. I have a client who, after receiving an inheritance, kept a little of that money to the side and goes out for annual birthday dinners. It's an opportunity for her to celebrate and spend time reminiscing on the impact her parents had on her life. Another was able to use the new windfall to retire a bit earlier than they had anticipated, which allowed them to be more involved with their own young grandchildren. Working with a financial professional can help and ensure that the assets are being used in a way that aligns with personal values and long-term financial security.
Well, for some clients, an inheritance can also be a chance to consider their own legacy. What estate planning steps should someone consider after receiving an inheritance?
A good first step is to create or update your core estate planning documents, such as your will, trust, powers of attorney, and healthcare directives, now that your financial situation has changed. You may want to begin thinking about gifting strategies or philanthropic giving to help manage the taxes of your own estate. Each year, you can gift money to another person up to a certain limit issued by the IRS. Many of my clients who have received an inheritance are appreciative, but many have a desire to pass the wealth to their own children before they pass away. So they'll begin gifting money each year to help their children's financial situation, and it removes those assets from their estate, which could reduce future estate taxes of their personal estate. They enjoy seeing the benefit their children receive from the annual gifts and find it really fulfilling. Donating to some charities and religious organizations can also help reduce taxes your own estate may pay in the future. For many, being able to see another organization that is important to them use the money can bring a lot of joy to their plan. One option is a donor-advised fund, which allows you to take an immediate tax deduction in the year of the gift, then recommend charitable grants over time. No matter what you decide, though, it's important that you communicate with those that would be impacted by your wealth so you can help set expectations, reduce confusion, and make the process smoother in the future.
Carly, this was a really important discussion. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Susie.
If you have questions about inheriting assets, reach out to your Fidelity representative. If you don't have a Fidelity representative, visit fidelity.com/findinadvisor. And for more timely news and thinking from Fidelity's top thought leaders, subscribe to Insights from Fidelity Wealth Management. I'm Susie Allen. Join me again soon.